All right, we're going to go through a quick overview on how to get and deploy Expo XT Webex Contact Center for Power BI. You have a couple different ways to do it. One, open up Power BI, which is app.powerbi.com. Simply go and Get Apps, select Template Apps, type Webex, and there's a couple different Webex offers. Make sure you get the Webex for Contact Center, which is this light blue offer. Simply click, deploy, and within 2 or 3 minutes, you should have the template app deployed. So get it now. Yes, get it now. Now it's taking you to the job to run the app. I'm going to say install, and you'll see here it's installing the app. It could take a little while. Again, usually it takes just a short minute or two. Done. Next, I go click on the app, connect to your data. So notice that this is a sample data set. It's not your actual data. In order to get your actual data into the app, you're going to need to go to connect to your data and then enter in some credentials that Metropolis will supply. For example, your customer name, your registration phone number, and your license key. Now, depending on whether or not you will be hosting your own Azure SQL database or Metropolis will be providing the managed Azure SQL database, these parameters might change for the server host and the database name. So in this instance, Metropolis is going to be managing the database in the Metropolis Azure tenant, okay? And I simply click Next. Now I'm going to enter in some credentials that Metropolis would supply, which are the credentials to the database itself. Then you're going to select Organizational. You'll notice here that this is the Azure SQL Server. This is the Azure SQL Server database, the user ID and password to the actual database itself. And then the privacy settings, you can leave it organizational. Then you go sign in and continue. Next step is just validating you have a valid license from Metropolis. And this can be set to anonymous. Sign in and connect. Then you'll notice up in the upper left that this refresh is taking place. The refresh, depending on the amount of data that you have that will be pulled into the application, could take anywhere from a minute to 30 minutes, or longer, just depending on how much data we're pulling in. But you'll see, boom, done. I've now installed, deployed, connected to the Metropolis managed Azure SQL database with Webex Contact Center data. We know that because the banner has been removed here. So some of the other things that you can do are go to the workspace, update the data set, update the app. We'll do that real quick. That's the app. Let's go to Webex. You'll notice that update the app and apply to share, it changes to the workspace. So it's recommended after you do the first initial deployment to the app to update the app so you have the latest and greatest features. So I will just go update, leave everything as is. If I want to add other users in my organization to see this automatically, I can just simply set it to automatically install the app. So as soon as they go click on apps, it'll be organizational app that they'll see. Otherwise, they have to go get it. And then I could entire organization or group. I'm going to set this entire organization for now. Click OK, update app. Should take less than 5 minutes to update. Why that's critical is it gives you some of the more advanced features like setting up audiences and just being in the latest version. So you'll notice now I can go back to that workspace and that message to update the app has disappeared. Next step, we can go look at the semantic model settings, like your refresh intervals. Pro gives you 8 refreshes. Premium gives you 48 refreshes in a day. So depending on your busy hours, I would stagger this on your working hours, maybe every 30 minutes or maybe every hour if you have an 8-hour work shift. So just be cognizant of that. And then if you have 24 hours, 48, so 48, 30 minutes, maybe stagger it every 30 minutes. So if you have a requirement to have the data automatically refreshing against the Azure SQL database every 30 minutes, the data is relatively consistent in a 30-minute increment. Or again, maybe you just care about refreshing the database for the 2 hours of your busy hour. So you could stagger it every 15 minutes during the 2-hour period. So a lot of flexibility there on the refresh, but always recommend at least setting up 1 or 2 refreshes to take place automatically. And click apply. Boom, done. Set up, automatically refreshing, data source and everything is set. Something else I can do, go back to workspace, click on app, and I'm going to go update the app again. Yeah, soon, in that 5 minutes or so, you'll start to see that the app, when you update it, gives you the ability to set up audiences. So just be mindful of that. Again, it does take 5 or so minutes to get to the latest version of the app that Microsoft has. Something else you might run into are, if you're not a Power BI admin, find your Power BI admin, because you need to install template applications. By default, this is set to null. It needs to be set to enable. That enables you to go to App Source and get the app and install it. In order to do the get from App Source method, as opposed to get from within Power BI, I could just go to App Source, that's Microsoft App Source, do a search for Expo XT Webex. Just like before, we're going to want to make sure we pick the Webex Contact Center one, right? And if you do have other integrations, we support almost all of them. So again, a lot of times customers will just have one instance of Expo XT Webex Contact Center and then Webex calling data, and then Cisco Unified Communications data, then maybe even Zoom data, you name it. So again, just like before, get it now, it deploys, just like before. And this will actually update the app that's already deployed if there's a new version, right? Or you could even pick to install it in another workspace altogether. So I could say, okay, this is the other one I want to test with a different team. So this is like test for sales team, Expo XT, boom, done. Now you have 2 instances of the app, right? You could go through the same process again and connect it to the database, set it to refresh. Now you have multiple apps connected to your Azure SQL database that is pulling information from your Webex Contact Center APIs, so you can edit, change, make, modify the app to your needs. And we provide the standard reports and templates. But a lot of times, customers will want to retheme it or modify it. Other times, they'll just want to use standard off-the-shelf version. Finally, I'll point out that you can also find more information about Expo XT Webex Contact Center Analytics for Power BI from Webex App Hub. And obviously, come to our website, watch some demos, engage our sales team. We would love to work with you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.